Welcome back to the Brent Daniels live show here. And this is, I wrote this down. I want to see what you think here, Luke.
Come talk to me.
All right. In this show, we're going to give you the instructions that you need to find millions of dollars of opportunities in any market in the United States.
Banging.
We're going to show you how to find them, how to convert them, how to sell them without using any of your own cash or credit.
Anyone can do it.
How's that intro?
Love it.
What do you think? We got Rich Wonders here today. Rich Wonder, the Novation King, is in studio today, guys. Any questions that you have about doing novations, I want to hear them. Great to see you, Brandon Mitchell. Great to see you, Joel. This is awesome. Thanks for jumping in here on a random, what is it, Thursday afternoon. Now, let me start with this, because this has been rolling around in my head, Rich. This is what's been driving me crazy.
Yeah.
Okay? You go out, you crush it, you get $100,000. Okay? Do you, and we're going to break down the numbers because I did this exercise earlier today and Luke's got it all pulled up here. Do you take that $100,000 and you put it into the S&P 500? Now, the S&P 500 historically has returned 8 to 10%, okay, year over year, compound interest. You set it, you leave it, you forget it, right? Over a 20-year period, do you make more in the S&P 500 or do you go and buy a rental property? Okay? Ooh. Do you put that as a down payment on a rental property? Now, a rental property, you have $100,000, you can go $400,000 for the value of the property, right? Guys, put it in the chat what you guys think. Kiave, great to see you. Yes, Thursday we're live. Caleb, great to see you. Would you do this in South Carolina? You can do. In South Carolina, you can find great opportunities. You have to close on them, though. You have to close on them. You have to actually purchase them and flip them and sell them. All right, Seth G's in the house. Awesome. Novations in South Carolina?
No.
No novations in South Carolina?
You have to close on them or do creative finance. But you have to take title. That's my understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great question, guys. Yeah, the novation laws are affecting it big time, okay? So 100,000 into S&P 500, 100,000 into a rental property. Put it in the chat, guys. What would you guys do? What would you do?
So let me make sure I'm understanding this.
Yes.
You have 100,000 and that's all your money, or you're looking to just deploy 100,000?
You're looking to invest in something. It's not all your money. This is
me personally.
Yes.
I would pick the S&P 500.
S&P 500?
Yeah.
Interesting. Got it. Guys, put it in what you guys think. If you're on Instagram, if you're on TikTok, if you're on Kick, if you're on YouTube. Guys, I highly encourage, if you're on any of those other platforms, come to YouTube, right,
Yeah.
Luke?
Yeah.
Come to
down.
YouTube because you get the full, vast experience, and then you can really get into the chat that's right in front of me here. Nice. Vanessa, my 8-year-old Benji likes watching your lives. Well, hey, Benji.
Shout out Benji.
Hey, future millionaire. You'll be a millionaire before he's 18 if he implements this.
Some good content.
But that is incredible. So some things to consider when we're looking at 100,000 into S&P 500, 100,000 into real estate. Biggest one that popped into my head was depreciation.
Yeah.
Writing off depreciation over 20 years. Okay, so I pulled up this depreciation calculator. So Luke, in here it says type of property, put residential. Okay, in the years owned, put 20 years. Original purchase price, put 400,000. Land value, they don't give you the land value, guys. This is something that you have to remember when you are thinking about what investments to buy. They don't let you depreciate land. Okay. They don't, because it doesn't, land's land. So put 50,000 here for the land, okay? Improvement of the property over a 20-year period, let's put 70,000. And the reason I say 70,000 is $3,500 a year is the upkeep on a property, right? That's the average. If you Google it right now, it's going to be anywhere from 25 to 4,000. So I just went 3,500. So 70,000 there. So annual depreciation is 15,273. Does that mean, everybody, that you get to write off $15,000 on your taxes? Chat? What do you think, Luke?
No.
No.
Yeah.
No, you don't. No, this just reduces the amount of your total income. So if you make 100,000, you get they will now tax you at 85,000, right? But let's say it's you and me, Rich. Let's say we're in that 37% tax bracket. Go to the federal tax income bracket here. Look at this, right down here. Scroll it up.
40.
Scroll it up right here. Look at this. So if you're over 600,000, you're at 37% income tax bracket. Okay, I kind of ran it at 35%. So what is 35% of that? For what was it? 15,000 and some change. It's like, let's just call it 5,000.
Yeah.
Let's call it 5,000, right?
So 35% of 5,000.
So 5,000 times 20 years is 100,000. So you get $100,000 in savings if you buy real estate. So let's make sure that we put that to the side here, okay? Let's make sure that we'll go stock, and we'll go real estate. Okay? You got 100,000 in depreciation. Okay? Great. Now you've got, this is a $400,000 property. You put $100,000 into it, and you've got a $300,000 loan, right? Everybody with me? 50-50. Awesome. It's 50-50 on what you would do. What would you guys do? If you had $100,000, put it in the chat, $100,000, would you put it in the S&P 500 for the next 20 years, or would you buy a rental property and keep it for the next 20 years? I want to know what people are saying. Put it in there, all right? All right, so the next point is appreciation, right? You get appreciation in real estate. So you've got starting value 400,000. If you Google it right now, they'll tell you that the appreciation rate is 5%, and that is pretty. And put it yearly, okay, and put for 20 years here. Look at this. Watch this. Look at that. Look at that. Look at what?
Sorry about that.
Magic? Are you playing Magic?
Yeah, it's on my other monitor right now.
So this property is now worth $1,061,000 in 20 years. Okay? And I just wanted to make sure that that was accurate. So if you go to the next tab here, I looked at what were houses worth in 2005 and 2025. Show more. You've got 214,700. And right now it is 414. So it's about double. I mean, at least 200,000 on that. So obviously, if you start at 400,000, it's gonna get bigger. So it's pretty close.
Yeah.
Would you guys agree with that? Is that pretty close? So you've got a property now in 2045 worth $1 million. Okay. And then go to the amortization schedule. Over that 20 years, how much gets paid down? Go here. I already have it here, actually. 300,000 was the loan amount. 30 years, let's say 6%, which is normal. After 20 years, scroll down, right here. After 20 years, you got 162,000 left. $162,000 left, right? That's about, let's just call it even here with the 162 or 1,061 and 162. That puts you at about $1 million. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
After you pay that off, and then you have your, what about, we've got our 100,000, right? We've got our 100,000 that we depreciated. And we have our original 100,000 in there, so that kind of wipes it out. So now you've got a property that is worth about $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
Your return's $1 million. Does that make sense? What did I miss? Did I miss anything?
No.
What do you think, Rich?
Yeah, you got $1 million in equity, basically.
$1 million in equity. We got the depreciation. We got the loan payoff.
But the one thing that's different between that rental house and the stock is totally passive. In the rental house, there's things that have to happen with it, right?
Oh, you're absolutely right.
To keep it going.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're now go to the investment calculator. S&P 500. Right here, initial investment. Initial investment 100,000. Years of growth 20. Estimated return, put that, let's just go crazy at 10. Annually, and then recurring, put 0. 672,000
That's crazy. Doing virtually nothing.
from your 100,000. So in this case, you get a return, you get 572,000, and in this you make $1 million. Right?
Yeah.
So it's really, do you want that on your plate? Do you want to own that real estate? You're right. It is not a passive thing. It is 100% you are involved in that deal, right?
Right.
For 20, I mean, you're putting the renters in there. There's probably some
Maintenance.
and I didn't even do cash flow. I just put all the cash, like just an even cash flow. I didn't put like anything else because I put it into the expenses, and the depreciation really just covers the expenses,
Yeah.
right? Covers the maintenance, the fix up, all of that stuff. Isn't that great? What about taxes? Property
Ooh.
taxes, it's all in your payment. It's all in your payment. A great question. Larry B throws a big old arm up. Yes. I did biceps today, bro.
Nice.
Yeah. I have to ask you a fashion question in a second. Yeah. So, really interesting, guys. You have to make a decision. You have to make the decision. Do you want something? Do you know what spurred this on, Rich?
No.
Was I saw there was a viral post that had like a financial analyst, and he said if Jerry Buss, the owner of the Lakers, put his $57 million or $67 million or whatever it was that he bought the Lakers for back in 1979, if he would have put it in the S&P 500, he would have $13 billion now. He just sold the Lakers for $10 billion.
Wow.
Or his daughter did.
Oh my
Jeannie
gosh.
Buss, right? But obviously they've been making a ton of money. They've been living off of this,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
They've been making a ton of money. They've been getting, I assume they're pulling owner equity or getting on the payroll for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not really that accurate. But I doubt that they paid their family and themselves $3 billion over the last 45 years,
No.
right?
Unless it's like a.
You think they could have
I
paid
don't know.
$3
It's the
billion?
Lakers, too.
What do
Yeah,
you
I was
guys
gonna
think?
say it's the Lakers.
Huh?
That's a good one. I'm honestly not sure, but I know, they've got to be making some money. The last 40 years on the Lakers, I mean, think.
Right.
Shaq,
Yeah.
Kobe, Chamberlain. Interesting, though.
Right.
But I guess a question I would have is when do you think someone should be at the point where they're looking into either doing stocks or rental property, and when is it best to just keep feeding it into the business that's generating the money,
This is the reason that I was thinking about it. Without a doubt, the biggest asset that you should be investing in as an entrepreneur is your own business. Without a doubt. That's what's going to feed everything. That's what's going to give you that extra income. What I'm saying is once you get to the point where you've got enough coming in where you can start buying some assets,
Yeah.
what long-term assets are you going to buy? You know what I mean? And listen, if you live in an area where you don't get appreciation in real estate, which is a lot of the country doesn't actually appreciate, it's more of a
Right.
cash flow market, it doesn't make sense at all to buy those houses. Like, properties in Detroit have been worth $60,000 for the last 30 years. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh my
Like you could buy a house in Detroit for $500. You know what I
That's
mean?
crazy.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful. You got to be one in an area that appreciates, and two, you got to understand your life, your lifestyle, right? Because what really spurred this on was I was like, you know what? Why don't I put what would happen if I just put $500,000 in the S&P 500 and just 10 grand a month for as long as I can, right?
Ooh.
Just put it in there and just don't even worry about it. And it came out to something ridiculous. It was like $15 million over 20 years or something. Right? Or 30 years or so. I think it was 20 years because I'm 43 years old and I'm like, this train's going to run out
Yeah,
of
I
track,
was gonna
so to speak. You know what I mean? So I think about these things, right?
Yeah.
Listen, and you shouldn't be thinking about these things as you're building your business. You should be focusing on investing in your business, getting great talent, replacing yourself. But once you get to the point where you go from in the cash flow quadrant, once you're at the point where you're not, Matt, you doing all right back there? Running around like a crazy person.
He's getting a
You know,
steps
you're
in chat.
employee to self-employed. This is when you build a specialized skill, right? This is what you did, for sure. Specialized skill, so that's what this is, skill. And then once you have the point where you have enough money where you can build your business, right, and replace yourself, that's when you go into the investor. That's what I'm talking about here. I'm just looking at the far path.
Yeah.
Because I just had, I have an incredible support call with Kelvin, and he's got his dream board in the back when I'm zooming with him, and it's like build an empire and that whole thing, right?
Yeah.
It's like fantastic. Go do deals first. Go find the best deals, get some active income in to where your income explodes, and then once you get to the point where you can replace yourself in your business, then go out and buy the assets. But I think until your business is humming without you, like really good, like really well, for maybe a couple years,
Right.
that's when you start looking at the asset classes. That's why I think it's easy to just go, yeah, I'll just put it in the S&P 500. This extra cash, instead of a savings account or something. What do you think?
Yeah, I've recently started putting money in stock market, just buying Google and just some like pretty safe bets.
Yeah.
But like the whole rental property thing, when I first started, I always thought like, oh, as soon as I get a little bit of money, I'm going to start buying some rental properties and playing Monopoly in my portfolio. And I've seen some people that's worked out really great, and I've seen some people that it hasn't. But it is a job. You're investing essentially in a business, a rental property business, and you're either controlling it yourself or you're paying someone to control it, and then you still kind of have to, if they don't do their job, then you're in trouble.
Right.
So I think it makes sense at scale, but I think the idea of like getting rich by slowly building your rental portfolio, I don't see a lot of examples of that. I could be wrong, but I think once you have, like when you're making so much money that you have money just sitting, you know what I mean? Then that's when you start deciding like, okay, some crypto, some stocks, maybe, some different real estate asset classes and really look at it. But I think of using that as the platform to get rich, I think that's tough. It's possible, but it's a
You
grind.
got to get rich. No, you get rich first, then wealthy.
Yeah.
Right?
Unless you right place, right time. If you buy at the right time, they appreciate. It's possible, but you're right. You're right.
It's like the dude that sold his Bitcoin for pizza or whatever.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
That hurt.
And
that
whoever he
100K in
sold that to.
Bitcoin.
Huh?
That 100K in Bitcoin, that might not be a bad idea, just as a wild bet too.
Well, I was doing that. I put a bunch of money into Bitcoin when it was under 20,000.
Oh my gosh.
And the dude was like, just put $1,000 a day into it, my wealth advisor. And I was like, okay. And then it just went,
Oh my gosh.
crazy. Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
That's a good return.
Interesting. Guys, give some love for Rich Wonders here, the greatest name in real estate. This
Big
guy
Rich.
makes absolute millions in novations. This is what you do. This is your business.
Yes,
You're
sir.
the Novation king. So for everybody that doesn't understand a novation, can you explain what a novation is?
Yeah. So a novation's where you have a motivated seller. We have paperwork where we can put them under contract like a wholesale deal, but we have a sales process where we can explain it to them where they understand we're going to resell our contract. We can use a realtor. We can list it on the market, and we can sell it to a cash buyer or just a regular retail buyer. So that's the long and short of it. You can sell it on the market to buyers with loans.
Why would any seller do that?
It's because they're in a jam. They're in a jam normally. They don't have time. They don't have the money. There's a personal situation. It's basically all the reasons people sell to wholesalers, except the property's normally not as big of a factor.
Yep.
Yep.
Will you pull up, you have the link to all our assets. Will you pull up the speed, convenience, price
Yeah, let me find it.
little graphic for me, Luke, and put it up here. I was going to write it, but I don't feel like looking up how to spell convenience, to be honest.
Nice. Yeah, that's a tough one.
So put it on there. Or you could put it in the chat if you want. If you could just write correctly spell convenience, that would be great. But the fact is, property owners, there's three main factors: speed, convenience, price. And they only get to pick two. Okay? They only get to pick two. So if they want the convenience and they want that price, that's when we're talking about novation.
Yep.
Right? Because these are typically properties that are not destroyed.
Correct.
I mean, some need cash, but
Yeah.
for the most part, these are livable, kind of dated properties, right?
Yes.
And they want the convenience of not hiring an agent, not doing repairs to the property, not even going to the property, not cleaning it up, none of those things, right?
Yeah. They want to be hands off. They just want it done.
So with that, if they're looking for speed, convenience, and price, that's what really falls into. There's two options there really: novation or creative finance, right? Where
Yeah.
you give them a higher price, but the terms are better,
Right.
I always say it. I'll buy any property for $1 million if I could pay you $1 a month for the mortgage.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like that would be fine. So you either get wholesale price or wholesale terms for sure. All right. What up, Brent? At what point should someone start investing from the profits they make from wholesaling? Thanks, from Mitchell Jordan. What do you think?
I mean, kind of going back to what you said, until you've built your business to a point where it's running without you and you're looking at other ventures. Otherwise, I think you should be investing in marketing or investing in people and investing in growing to that point. Because until that point, your business isn't really stable. Because if you stop working, like, your business stops working too.
Yep. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's what I would tell you, Mitchell, is set a minimum standard for how much you want to take home to your family every year. Okay? Whether it's 200,000, 250, 400, whatever. And get to that level without you having to be day to day in the business, right? Without you having to go on all the appointments and make all the calls and sell all the deals and work with all the buyers and work with the title company, all those things. When you can pull yourself out of the business and you still make that minimum standard that you want to take home, that's when you start going and getting better and getting savvy and getting smart, or hire a really reputable financial planner or manager, wealth manager, whatever else. But for the most part, I think that you should be running the show on that and getting advice based on what you know and what your instincts are. But here it is, right? Sellers only get two, guys. Sellers only get two: speed, convenience, price. They want the price, convenience, boom, novation. Okay. If they want the speed and the convenience, that's when we get wholesale. If they want the speed and the price, or even the convenience and the price, it's going to be creative, and or they're going to list it on the market with a realtor. Does that make sense to everybody? Does that make sense? Awesome. Gotronic says assets equals liabilities plus owner equity. That's for sure. That is absolutely for sure. So, yeah, guys, let us know. When do you think? When do you think that you should be cherry picking some deals that you keep for your own portfolio? Because I hear it all the time. It's like you go to like these meetups or the seminars or the masterminds. And by the way, the word mastermind outside of like what we do is such a weird word to people.
Yeah.
Like people that haven't really read Think and Grow Rich. That's where it originated from.
Right.
Is that's where they got mastermind from. So whenever I say it, my wife's like, "Oh, you're going to a mastermind? You're going to a what is?" I mean, she's in the medical field, so she's like, "That's ridiculous." They're conferences, you know what I mean? But mastermind outside of what we do is kind of an interesting term. But yeah, so you go and you find these opportunities of people that want to sell. They want the white glove treatment, as you call it. And there's a real process to this. A real process that you follow.
Yep. We have it very dialed in where we are getting more and more scripted and repeatable, just because I'm scaling right now and I'm growing, and the more repeatable process and the more simple your process is, the easier it is for people to adopt it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, I mean, we evaluate the whole deal like a wholesale deal. They come in looking for a cash offer. So we go down that road with them because they're not open to an alternative until they realize the plan they had isn't a viable path, because they're looking for a full retail cash offer in most cases. So we have to eliminate that off the table before they're open to an alternative. So that's where a lot of people have trouble with this, is they'll try to pitch the novation. Well, the door's not closed to the cash offer yet. And of course, I mean, if I could have a cash offer that's full price, or an offer where someone's going to go resell my property for the same price, it's like, no, I'll take the cash and you guys do with it what you want. So it's a, you know, we've dialed in really good, and we use market data, like every little step of the process. We kind of have a way to do it.
Is your pitch the same as it was a couple of years ago, you think?
It's almost identical.
Hasn't changed?
I've cleaned up the script, and I've made things more clear, and some of the things that I used to say but wasn't on the script, like I keep molding it, and there's little changes, but the general framework is almost identical. So it's, I mean,
How'd you discover it?
I mean, there's only, you know, it's based on the same thing that most people are doing. I just kind of made more rigid controls on how I did it. So, you know, basically, I you know, from trial and error, and a lot of my stuff is actually based on my Kirby pitch. It's funny because the guy that used to drive me around and train me when I first started Kirby, selling vacuums door to door, he's been working with me for the last 3 weeks.
No.
So he joined my
Dang.
team, yeah. He was
Throwback.
driving truck for 10 years. So he left Kirby before me, went on the road, drove truck for 10 years. He came to my birthday party last year at my
Your
crib,
40th,
right?
right?
Yeah, my 40th, yep.
Yeah.
So he came out to that, saw my pad and everything. He's like, bro, I want to work with you. Give me some time. I got to save up some money. I'm driving this truck. I got to kind of wind that down. And then, you know, about a month and a half ago, he came to me. Now he's been working with me. And he's like, it's so funny because he's like, dude, I totally see the Kirby stuff in
Is he
here.
good?
Yeah, well, he's brand new, so he's going through the steps. But yeah, he's doing discovery calls. He's getting tee-ups. He's determined. Like, he's a dog, too. Like,
Yeah, but you're either good at communication or not. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, he's good. No, he's a crew chief. I learned a lot from him about sales, like, when I was first starting. He was the guy closing my deals and driving me around.
That's cool.
So, yeah, I'm excited for him, man. He's going to be a beast in this.
Awesome.
But I've just stole, great artists steal, you know. I've just taken little things from everything that I've learned that worked. And
Well,
kinda
there's
toppled
nothing
them all.
new.
Yeah.
There's nothing new.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just repackaged. So how did you discover the process? You know what I mean? How did you discover this is step 1, this is step 2, this is step 3? Was it just screwing it all up and trying to figure it out? Or was it just a natural, like, okay, I understand how to sell vacuums. This is how I can sell the idea of, you know, a novation.
Yeah, there was little things that I added because, you know, most wholesale process is, you know, get the info about the house, trying to find out about their motivation, their price, their timeline, all those major pillars, right?
Yep.
That we all do. But like we do some extra things, like where we set the stage and tell them about the company in the beginning. That's something we did in Kirby too. So like that intro is kind of the same thing, and that's one thing I do different than a lot of people do. And then just kind of the softer, non-confrontational approach, and we go real professional. And that was something that I did in Kirby more too, because I was in like strangers' houses that didn't really want me there. Mm-hmm. So I got really good at trying to be likable and non-threatening and hard to get rid of. And I just spent like 9 years, like, you know, developing that. And then it just kind of, a lot of that ended up transferring over where I can get them to open up to me. Because like with these deals too, a lot of it's about their personal situation.
Yep.
And some people will be an open book and you'll say hello and they'll just tell you literally everything you need to know. And some people you have to earn your way into them trusting you with their personal information. So I kind of learned that like if I can't get what's really going on, it's very difficult for me to give them a solution with anything other than just giving a higher number. So my goal on everything is try to figure out how can I deliver value where now they will compromise on price. So I'm just I'm like tipping the scales with I'm giving them more value than they're expecting, and they're giving me more discount than they were expecting. And we try to figure out how to make it a win-win. It's a very consultative approach.
I love it.
Yeah.
Can you chat GPT and ask who is the Novation King?
Oh, I'm on it.
Gosh.
You think it'll pull it up?
Dude, I don't know.
Put it on the screen. That'll be awesome.
Maybe, because it would pull from Google. That's funny.
Caden, who just moved here from Florida, he's got 2 months reserved. Let's see.
I'm not there yet, bro. They don't know me.
We got to get this thing going. Okay,
Come
so
on,
Novation
ChatGPT.
refers to a type of wholesale deal where the original purchase agreement is replaced with a new one, allowing the wholesaler to sell the property directly to the end buyer, often using retail financing. If you are asking who dominates or is known as the Novation King in wholesaling, it is likely real estate influencers or educators who specialize in novation agreements.
You gotta tell ChatGPT, search the web real quick.
Yeah,
No, I'm just
right. That's a great definition.
Yeah.
That's a really great definition right there. I like that. Wait, Caden moved from Florida to Arizona, burned the boats, has 2 months in reserves.
Wow.
Living off Van Buren,
Nice.
right?
Yeah.
And got a contract late yesterday and is going for another one 10 minutes ago. Give
Let's
it up.
Let's go.
Give it up. Come on.
Big Caden.
There we go. AV asks, how can we JV with him? You don't do JVs, do you?
We do a couple here
Yeah.
and there, yeah, for sure. Yeah, novationjv.com. And if you hit my Instagram, I'm always talking about it on there, and you can see tons of
Can you pull it up?
Novation info.
Novationjv.com, guys. Novationjv.com. Alejandra, who is posing as me in the comments, is going to put it in there. So I have a couple going through divorce who needs help. House is in great condition from what they said. Recent improvements, too. There you go. That's for the
Oh,
JV.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice, yeah. Novationjv.com. This is for the course. Yeah.
Novationjv.com.
JV.com.
If seller is stuck on 92 with livable condition, what would be a Novation scenario? He mentioned that he has declined 50, 60K offers. That's from Randy.
Well, I mean, we really need to know what realistically it would sell for on the market to know what number would work. And to find that out, I mean, you got to get all the detailed notes of the condition, then go on PropStream or Zillow or, any of the data providers and look at what the other properties are selling for. And then you got to say, okay, this one's nicer than the subject property. This one's worse. And you got to hit all those little data points and then figure out where your property works in there, right? And then you want to be at 90% of that price that it'll sell for quickly. And then you need at least a 30K margin of error and room for profit. So for 90 to work, I mean, it would really have to sell for what? 145-ish, something like that, because, or 140, 135 would probably be what it would need to sell for.
Yeah, because that gets sliced up in a lot of different ways.
Yeah,
right?
you got the realtor.
So hold on, let's walk through it. So let's say it's 150,000. The guy wants 90,000. What other costs are involved that they can expect so that they know, if this is realistic?
So if it sells for 150, normally you're going to have 6% for the realtors.
6%. Yep.
And then you're going to have probably about 1.5% of closing costs.
Yep.
And there may be some concessions or repairs. I mean, it just kind of depends on, is the house brand new? Is it 50 years old?
You're paying 3% concessions. This is a first time home. This is an FHA loan. You know? You know what I mean? So you're paying 3% to help that buyer. Concessions means you help pay for their closing costs and whatever else. So concessions. Right?
Yep.
So you've got, and then what would you put in there for, they found some items that need to be repaired, but we'll just give you a credit. How much do you think?
Probably between 2,000 and 4,000 if
Let's
it's
go
not like a
4,000.
major thing, yeah.
4,000. Okay. So you got 4,000 there, boom. So you've got 6% of 150,000 is
What, 8,000, something like that?
9,000? I think it's 9,000. Who's got their calculator?
Rich is on.
9,000, you're right. Yep.
Well, listen, for a long time in my life, everything in my mind was times by 6%.
It's
well, actually, it was
hardwired.
3%. And I was like, 3% of 150 is 450. Or 4,500. Boom. All right, so you got 9,000 here. 1.5 is 7,500. You've got 3% here. That's another 4,500. Sorry, that's not 7,500. That's 35. No. 2,000, we'll call it. And then 4,000. So you've got 11,000, 15,500, 19,500 in costs. Okay? And then that's on top of the 190, so that puts you at, or I'm sorry, that's on top of the 90,000 that the seller wants, so that puts you at 109,500, and at 150. That looks like a nice deal
Yeah.
if it's worth 150.
Yes.
Then you're making 31.5 on that. But if you can't sell it fast,
Yeah.
and that's the most important thing, really fast at 150 on the market, it's a total waste of your time.
Yeah, you don't make your money by getting top dollar on the market.
No.
You make your
Not in
money
this
on
market.
the acquisition, and you got to sell. You got to go low, because otherwise, it's going to be sitting around. It's going to eat up your bandwidth. You're trying to squeeze every little penny out of these deals. Your seller's going to gradually get less and less satisfied, and you're going to be in the danger zone. And then your deal's out there stale too, because you're trying to squeeze every penny out of it. And people know that you're the kid at the lunch table that no one wants to sit by, that's picking his nose. You know what I mean? Everyone's looking at you crazy. So, yeah, and then you become more vulnerable as time goes.
Yeah, mold starts growing. Rust.
Yeah.
A rusty deal. Nobody wants a
Exactly.
rusty deal. All right, we got some great questions. We're starting to get some participation here, which is awesome.
And on Instagram.
Listen, it's a Thursday afternoon or evening for some people. We're just trying stuff out here. We're trying to go live as much as possible to get better at it and to give as much to the community as possible. So I'm starting out. This is from Chelsea 8484. Okay, I'm just starting out in wholesaling. I've been nonstop educating myself for the past 4 days. I built up my buyer's portfolio. Do you recommend Deal Machine or just driving for dollars? Thoughts?
I know
You want me
what
to
I
do
would
this?
Go for it. I mean, I think if you're going to drive for dollars, you probably should use
need
Deal
Deal
Machine.
Machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why take all the extra steps? It's right there.
Yeah, Chelsea, it's an all-in-one. So you can pull all of the distress lists, and I would highly suggest you do as much research on how you can pull the tax delinquent properties in your area. Okay? Find out. It's all out there. How can I pull the property tax delinquent properties in my area? Do that, because that is a smoking hot list. Smoking hot list. All right? Question from Wu-Tang 23361. Brent, if you had to choose, I assume that's a zip code. What zip code's 23361? 23361. If you had to choose PPL versus Facebook ads, what would you pick?
Virginia.
My natural instinct says paper lead, but I had Ryan, my acquisition manager, in here, and we were doing a little podcast that got deleted. Thank you, Matt. We have to redo it. He said PPL is the bottom of the barrel for him. He says absolute worst leads that he gets is
Really?
paper lead. Yeah. He says you're just chasing. They're not really serious. They're not really, they have no idea where they're calling. He doesn't know where they're coming from, that type of thing. At least Facebook, you know it's coming from Facebook.
Yeah,
Paper
you know
lead,
the
it could come
source.
from different sources.
Yeah.
It's
Become-
just the person operating it is in my opinion, the most important. It's not Facebook or it's the quality of the campaign and how they're distributing the leads too. You know what I mean? Because they're not all created equal. You could have someone torpedo your whole business running a bad PPC campaign, but it also can be one of the best
PPL.
things. A PPL too. Like,
Yeah.
man, dude, I have a PPL. I won't say what their name is, but I'm way negative ROI on it. Like, I just kept, it was like I kept dumping money into it where I'm like, well, I want to get my money back. You know what I mean? Let me get a deal
like
and
a
then
slot
I'll feel
machine.
better.
You're gambling.
Yeah,
machine.
it was
Yeah.
degenerate. It was just it just kept getting worse. I get a bunch of South Carolinas and a bunch of the
Just one more
stuff I
lead,
didn't
just one more
want.
lead.
Yeah, now I still have money sitting in that account, but I'm trying to figure out if I can get it back on my card and put it on the one that I'm getting better results with. But yeah, it varies a lot too because.
Can you say the one that you're having better results with?
But then everybody's going to go to it, and then it's not going to be as.
I love
no,
it.
I'm just playing.
Hey,
So-
that might be a strategy. I don't
Yeah,
mind that.
yeah.
I don't mind
Yeah.
if you don't want to say.
Yeah,
I don't
because
care.
I think people will know the one I'm talking bad about too.
But
But there's several out there, and I've heard good and bad things about all the ones that are out there. Like I think it's bottom of the barrel just because it's entry point, where if you have say $500, you can say, okay, I'm going to make a little run at this, and you can buy 10 leads and have a good shot at getting a deal where you don't have the commitment of doing all that other stuff. But I think if you're trying to like build a sustainable business just doing PPL, I don't think that's like probably a long-term solution.
Yeah. Well, we're running a PPC campaign for you.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. Like they can't even hold a candle to having a targeted, dedicated PPC person.
What can't hold a candle?
PPL.
Yeah.
Because PPL, you're reaching in the bargain bin and seeing what you pull out. You might get lucky, but when you have a dedicated person that's changing it and refining it and suiting it to what you need too, it makes a massive difference.
All roads lead to pay-per-click.
Oh yeah, it's the king. It's
Yeah.
the king of marketing for sure.
Besides referrals, I mean, obviously.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I mean, if you
But
want to
that's something. Yeah, it's hard to get the referrals.
right.
The
Yeah.
PPC is you can take money and turn it into leads.
Yeah, I love it. We got some more questions here. Okay. Randy said that deal that we just broke down, ARV is only 122. The guy wants 92.
Oh,
And he did all the rehab himself.
Oh, wow. It's very unique, I'm sure.
Do you novate manufactured homes?
Yeah. We've had some
There's
bangers.
rules. There's rules to it though.
Well, they have to be post 1978 if you want a financed buyer.
Yes.
But we've actually had some really good rips on some really crappy old ones where the people just wanted the land too.
Really?
Yeah, we had one in Flagstaff. We made just under 90 grand, and the people just wanted the land. They were going to demolish the home that was on there. But manufactured are good because a lot of people don't mess with them as long as they're attached to the land.
I'm writing it right now. Have to own land. Have to own the land.
Yep.
Because if not, you have to go through the motor vehicle division.
Yeah, you're flipping cars.
You're
It's not
flipping
that
cars.
you can't make money, but
you
you're
know
out
that?
of the.
no.
Yeah. So like the mobile home parks.
Yeah.
That you can like rent a space.
Yeah.
That's just like a
It's like personal property.
That's
basically.
that's more mobile home than manufactured. I mean, you get it in there, you hook up to everything, but you don't own the land. So the only thing you have to sell is the actual
Domicile.
domicile.
Yeah.
Dang. I'm
There you go.
impressed.
Look at this guy.
That's a Breaking Bad
He
reference.
by the way,
This is
just
my
turned
domicile.
25. Let's give it up for
Hey.
Luke.
Hey,
It was his
baby.
birthday, huh?
Thank you.
Give it up
Thank
for
you.
Luke. That's right. Still trying to fully understand the difference between novations and wholesaling. Are the primary differences simply that with novation you can close on the property and list it on the MLS? No, there's more differences.
We don't close on the property either. The main difference is instead of having to sell to a cash buyer, you can sell to a retail buyer that's using a loan. So that's being able to sell to a retail buyer and then being able to advertise and use a realtor. Those are the two game changers because normally all the things that the realtor does, like marketing and talking to buyers in traditional wholesale, there's someone on your team that's doing that. You have a
Luke,
dispo.
can you look up how many homes are bought with a loan versus cash in 2025? Because when you have a conventional loan, it opens up the market. You're not just selling to investors, you're selling to people that are going to live there, and they typically pay more.
Exactly. They don't need to turn a profit on it.
74% of home buyers finance their purchases. 74. Can you zoom in on that, Matt? 74% are buying these properties with loans. So, I mean, this is wild. This is wild. Cash sales accounted for 26% of the purchases. So you've got this pool of buyers. I mean, if you look at, I think that they're predicting, what's the prediction? How many homes will sell this year? I think it's like 4.5. I think it's under 5 million. And so when you look at, oh, I got this great deal, are you going to get it are you going to send it to a cash buyer or to a conventional buyer? If you're going to send it to a conventional buyer, you have to do a novation. You can't assign the deal. The banks will not allow assignment of a purchase agreement. The purchase agreement has to have the buyer's information on the purchase agreement. That's what they're looking for.
Yep.
And that's what happens. A novation, see, this is the big difference. And somebody asked, Jiu-Jitsu asked, can you hit a few bullet points on novation's benefits to the seller over listing it themselves? We'll certainly get to that. But the biggest difference is in a wholesale, you're essentially you're crossing out when you assign that purchase agreement to them. That document lets them take over that purchase agreement. In a novation, you're literally doing a new purchase agreement between the new buyer and the seller.
Yep.
And you're out of there.
They're writing a traditional state contract offer. They're not taking over your investor contract. They're doing a new agreement, and then you still have your novation agreement that has all your original promises to the seller that still lives on in the transaction.
Yep.
But yeah, they're doing a whole new purchase agreement, and if it's with a loan, the seller signs the buyer's offer.
Talked to one of our combined students, Jesse Lewis, today, crushing with novations.
Oh, nice.
Abdul crushing. Like everybody that you have coached in that has come in, that's also in the Rhino tribe.
Yeah.
They make a significant portion of their income from novations.
That's awesome.
So.
Yeah,
give it
dude.
up to him, Luke.
Come
Give
on.
it up. Give it up.
Yeah,
Come on.
we got a lot of dual
Rick Runners.
citizens with the Rhinos and the Rainmakers, man.
Well, I mean, listen, if you're going to be proactive and go out there and find some opportunities, you want to squeeze the most out of every good conversation that you have, every good lead that you have.
Oh, yeah.
And if you have novations in your pocket with wholesaling, it helps to expand the amount of deals that you can do. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? But I would say if you're starting out, pick one way or the other, master it, and then add the other one. Don't try to do both of them, because what happens is you start doing, which I think is a huge mistake a lot of people make, is where they're given those low ball cash offers. They're making the owner like put up all defenses and like block their number, and now there's not even an opportunity to go in and go for the novation.
yeah. And I think really
You say a lot of people screw it up when they try to refer you these deals.
Oh, for sure, because they've already burned it they've nuked it, you know what I mean, with the low ball offer. But I think for almost everyone starting out, you want to do wholesale, because wholesale already has some challenges going into it. And Novation has a lot of the same things as wholesale, plus more moving parts and more outlay. But like at the very least, you can learn to recognize them, because these are not deals that you're going to be able to wholesale anyway. So
Right.
It's not like, well, what's better, wholesale or novation? Like the ones that work for novation almost never work for wholesale. So these are people that you're talking to. You're seeing there's this fire of motivation there, but you just don't know how to get through and give them a solution that works for both of you.
Love it. Let's give some bullet points on the benefits to the seller to doing a novation versus just hiring an agent and doing it themselves.
Yeah. They don't have to interview agents.
Uh-huh.
They don't have to fix up the house, lift a finger, or spend a penny.
Okay.
Fairly often, they need some sort of assistance with either money for moving. Sometimes there will be some sort of financial strain where us advancing them the money is a significant benefit. It's like their only option to make something happen that needs to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, to sum it up with everything without getting specific is peace of mind, certainty, and a hands-off experience. Those three things. So they just don't want to go through the process. They just want a result. So it's kind of the happy place where they get most of the convenience of a cash offer, and they get significantly more money than what it would have to be for a cash offer. So it's kind of the in-between on the speed, convenience, price triangle. It's kind of in between. They get most of the convenience and more of the price, and it's still faster than a listing, but it's not as fast, a traditional listing.
Yeah.
But it's not, because a realtor normally like, hey, you want $1 million for it? Here, let's put it up and see what happens. And it's like 3 months later, So they get most of what they want, but there's just like a give and take there. So, I mean, you still have to get them at a discount. Like, you make your money by buying them undervalued.
Yep.
It's not a magic bullet where it's like, oh, yeah, you offer them retail and then you make all this money. But
Yeah, awesome. What do we got from Instagram?
We got, scroll up. Fast Freddy Farrell says, if a property has been renovated throughout, excluding the kitchen, does that qualify for a novation?
yeah, I mean, as long as there's enough margin between the price we lock it up and what it'll sell for, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Now, the kitchen's probably the most important thing to remodel. So I wish it was the other way around. The kitchen was remodeled and the rest was dated. But yeah, absolutely. And we make money on houses that are complete dumps, total shacks. Mm-hmm. It's just as long as there's the margin is the important thing, not the actual condition or location.
Love it. Guys, so hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed to the channel. We're going to be doing a lot of these. I'm going to be bringing in the most brilliant minds in real estate investing to give you the instruction and answer your question and the tools that you need to go out there and take massive imperfect action every single day. And that's what it all comes down to. I mean, this is all theory until you're actually speaking with a property owner. If you put conversations and making offers as the foundation of your business, everything else builds off of that. You will win, guaranteed you will win. And the name of this show today is $25,000 a week.
Yeah.
Making $25,000. So that's one deal, right? One deal a week. 4 deals a month. You doing that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now, it's not every week. This is what's interesting. Some weeks you're closing 5 deals, and then the next week you close 0 deals. But 70% of your income is going to come in your top 6 months. Remember that. This is critical. This is what screws everybody up. And I say it a million times on broken record, but if you're hearing it for the first time, let me know. Let me know if you're hearing that for the first time. But it's absolutely critical that you understand that point. All right? Does the property have to pass FHA if listing on the MLS?
It doesn't have to, right? But if it doesn't pass FHA,
I assume he's talking about novations, not just any property.
Right.
You can put any property on the MLS.
It's going to limit your buying pool. It may, in some markets, it may drastically limit it. In some, it may not be as big of a deal. But yeah, you just want to be, the important thing is to be aware of it, have it being priced accordingly. Because a lot of in these smaller markets where novations make sense because there's not really cash buyers, it's the only option. You will have a lot of FHA buyers, or if there's like a military base, you'll have a lot of VA buyers. Mm-hmm. So it's something to be aware of. Now, as long as you can price it low enough where it makes sense, it's fine. It's not a deal killer, but it's something you need to be aware of. Like, you can't go into it not knowing that it won't finance for FHA and not having a plan if you get an FHA buyer. So you got to be aware, because it could be something little too, like peeling paint on the exterior, or the outlets or something like that. That's an easy fix. But if it's a major thing, you don't want to go through that whole process and find out at the end, and then you lose a buyer, and then everybody's upset. And Yeah.
Yep.
You want to be aware of it.
Yep. They. This is a great question by Tyler Blackburn. Can you do a novation if you have a license so that you can save on the 3%? Get them.
I wouldn't. Even I can't tell you definitively. It probably depends on who you ask. You know what I mean? On if it's okay or not. But I wouldn't for several reasons. The time to money ratio just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? You make 10 to 20% for doing the deal, for orchestrating the deal, and you make 3% for selling it. And the amount of work to be the realtor is potentially more than the amount of work time-wise to get another deal. So you're saving 3% while simultaneously losing 15 to 20% of another deal. So I wouldn't. And it doesn't look great. It looks a whole lot like a net listing. You know what I mean? Even
It
if
is
it's
a net
not.
listing.
And it's
I mean, if you're a realtor, I mean, you're right. I mean, the
It's-
paperwork's not there, but
yeah, you're not signing a net listing agreement, but the end result is the same thing and your license. So I would recommend it.
sorry to ask again, but Tyler again, but I'm reaching out, cold calling for deals, and the deal seems to have more of a novation than a wholesale. Can I list it myself and save half the commission? Yeah, I mean you can, but I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. Like that 3% should not be the make or break, of this deal.
Yeah, if
if
you
you're like,
need
well,
that
I
for it
can
to
I can
work.
just do this all the time and I can make a bunch of money as a listing agent. No. No, don't do that. Have somebody else do the deals and you go find some more deals. Highest and best use of your time. Highest and best use of your time. And the Department of Real Estate will look at this as a net listing. If you're in a state that doesn't allow net listings, you're going to have problems. You're going to have problems. And your broker's not going to like this. I guarantee you, if you have a broker that is not a robot, which I assume some of these are robots.
Yeah.
I assume AI is
yeah.
getting into the
100%.
brokerage world. If you have a human living and breathing real estate broker, they're going to hate these deals. So hire somebody that's just going to get a clean commission for selling a property. You get your novation fee at the end of the deal, and everybody's happy. And you can go out and find more deals.
Yep.
Zach Coleman, I'm new to wholesaling, and I've heard maybe the term creative financing. What is it, and how do I determine if a property, if it should be creative finance offer or not? Yeah, great question. Pull up that the speed, convenience, and price. Basically, they want more than you can offer them, and they want to get it done now, right?
Yep.
They want the speed. Now, they don't want the speed of all their money. They want the speed of some of their money. And so really what it comes down to is wholesale price or wholesale terms. And what I would highly suggest, and this is for everybody to write it down, but this is how you determine if it is an owner finance. This is a creative finance. If it's owner finance, the owner owns this property free and clear. They don't want to just cash it all out, or they want some ridiculous price. That's fine. You follow the 5, 10, 50 rule. 5, 10, 50. You're going to go 5% or less down payment. That is what you're giving to the actual owner. If you can go 0, you're gangster. Congratulations. You win. Okay? Right? I mean, you start at 0. Usually on deals like this, I don't put anything down. I save that for doing some renovations on the property. I save that for marketing, for getting a great tenant in here. I save that for any unknown items that I'll need to repair over the next 5 years. So I don't put you anything down, but I'll take this off of your hands, and I'll give you a monthly payment every single month, and you can use that however you want, right? This is a 10-year balloon or more. Start at 30 years. So a balloon means this is when you have to pay it all off. You have to pay it all off, right? And so some people go, yeah, this is the typical seller. Have you dealt with this, Rich? I want 30% down, 2-year balloon, and 7% interest rate.
Yeah. It's like, oh, wow, thanks. May as well get a mortgage at that rate. I mean, what's the benefit?
It's not even clay. A mortgage would be way better. Anyway, 50% of the rent that you get from the tenant is your payment to the owner. Got it? So that's going to help you out because you need to have the cash flow left over for repairs. You need the cash flow left over for the big ticket items that are going to pop up, for vacancies, for marketing, all that stuff. So you want to be about 50%. You could push this to 60%, but I like 50%. So 5% or less, hopefully 0. 10-year balloon or more, hopefully 30. And 50% of rent, that's smoking. That's a smoking creative finance deal.
Yep.
All right?
It's up on the screen if you want to look at it.
I've noticed it's really typically two different situations where creative finance is like a good fit. It's the old guy that owns it free and clear, or
Yep.
the old lady that don't need the money right now, but they kind of fancy the idea of being the bank and getting the higher price, right? Mm-hmm. And then it's also the person with low equity that needs to move, and they can't sell it traditionally because they'll lose money. Like both of those situations, it seems like a lot of the creative finance deals are in those kind of categories where it's also another situation. You can't novate it, you can't wholesale it. Creative finance is the only way.
Yep.
You know.
You reading anything right now?
No.
No.
Watch a lot of Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts, but
It's interesting. So,
Yeah.
I talked to Ryan again. I interviewed him yesterday. I said, how many sales books have you read? I mean, he's a killer. He's a
Yeah.
killer closer. Like, he is the best in the country. He is unbelievable. If you heard him on these appointments, they're just absolutely textbook, just perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Anyway, he read like the first chapter of Split the Difference and was done.
He's like, nah.
It's done, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting. Some people, and then you get Tom Kroll on, and Tom Kroll started reading, and it totally changed everything in his life. And
Yeah.
then he inspired me to read. I read 52 books in 52 weeks. Don't remember any of them, by the way. That does not work.
Yeah, I was going
It
to say.
was a good challenge, but did not work. And so I just reread books that I know are really good.
Mm-hmm.
You know? But I just thought that was interesting. I think a lot of people use books as creative avoidance for
Yeah.
picking up the phone.
I think a lot of times too, like once you've gotten to a certain point in your life where you've really had a chance to explore all the ideas out there, you kind of already know what the things for you are, and it's more about going deep on those and being more focused on the things that you know to work for you and to be true than searching out for this new information, because you're right. Like there's nothing new under the sun. You know what I mean? And kind of for me, like Think and Grow Rich, Never Split the Difference. Yeah. Like I have a couple, Richest Man in Babylon, a couple like solid ones that are kind of the foundation.
Yep.
But I don't know. I'm kind of afraid sometimes to read new stuff too, where it's going to flip my perspective on its end. Yeah. So I'm like, things are going pretty good. Like, I don't know, like
That's
how much I want to change.
Right.
Like,
well, and then you get all excited, and then you go to the team, and they have no idea what you're talking about, and then you screw everything up because you want to be like a genius, or you have too much time on your hands. It's like, oh my gosh, just stick to what's working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have any more Instagram? Or is that it?
Not at the moment.
Okay. Jiu-Jitsu likes the sales book Spin Selling by Neil Rackham. All right, awesome. And what's the most you guys have invested in repairs on a Novation? Do you have a cap on repairs?
Yes, we do. So normally 5,000 is kind of the top of my comfort level of something that I can say yes to fairly easy without having to put much thought into it.
Right.
Or much extra due diligence. Because normally that will cover trash out, helping them move, getting the thing. And it's got to be, I got to make at least a 30K net after I get my 5K back, right? I've had ones where I want to say 40,000 is the most that I've put into one. And it was not willingly.
How'd that feel?
It was a little bit at a time. It was a sunken cost fallacy. it didn't feel good because it didn't sell. It was like $1 million plus house, and it didn't sell as fast that it was supposed to, and it didn't sell for what it was supposed to either. And I was like, ooh, like this is cool. Like we still made money, but yeah, like I have one right now. I'm 20K into because I had to stop a foreclosure, and then this lady needed help moving. But that's a deal that's over 100K, over 100K profit. So if there's enough margin in there, I will sometimes leave that 5 to 10K comfort zone and go after it. But I'm getting an inspection report. I'm filing a notice of interest. I'm getting a promissory note signed, and I'm really tight on how they get the process leading up to them getting that type of approval, where they understand this is money we care about. We're taking it seriously. If you get real loosey-goosey with the money and try to play big shot of like, oh yeah, 20K, they're going to be hitting you for money that whole time. They don't you get what I'm saying? Like it's very tricky. And you have sellers that will break your heart, that you'll loan money to, and then they'll turn on you. And then like, I've been through a couple situations like that recently, but yeah, you got to just kind of follow your heart. I'm a pretty risk adverse person, but the thing is if I took the stance of I'm not spending money on deals, and if I have to spend money on deals, that's not a deal I'm going to do. Like I would cut my income way, way down, like probably less than half, because more than half the deals, us spending the money is the thing that gets us the deal. And without that, there is no deal.
50%.
You know what I mean? Probably 50%, yeah. And
So if you're going to do novations, how much should you have sitting around to be able to do that?
I mean, I would plan on 5K per deal that you can handle. You know what I mean?
Every deal.
I would plan on it, yeah, because you don't know what deal is going to be. Okay, so you're either spending $500 up front getting an inspection report, or you're just hoping for the best. And when the inspection comes, if it's a FHA buyer, you got to get the repair done. If it's a FHA issue, otherwise the deal falls apart. There is no give a credit for it. And if the vendor won't take payment at closing, you got to have the bread or access to a credit or access to the bread. You know what I mean? And it gets expensive. Like right now, I think altogether we have like 85 active deals.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like I have 6 figures of money like floating around at all times in little $5,000 and $10,000 increments. So yeah, it does get scary. And there are people who are like, well, do you ever lose money? It's like, well, yeah, like, not very often, but
Not as much as you make.
not as much as I make. Yeah. And I don't lose it often enough to make me stop. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But I'm pretty careful about it.
Yeah. That's awesome. Can we ask the king what made him make that decision to leave the company he was working for and go out on his own?
Ooh. Lord drop.
Bro, so I saw my buddy Jared Piper, J.R. Piper. I think you know Jared, right?
Yeah.
Yep, he's big cat out here, owns tons of rental properties, successful wholesaler, investor. He was someone I went to elementary school with, and I saw him traveling the world. And I was traveling all these small towns, selling vacuums door to door, staying in the worst hotels available. And I just saw him living life. And my lady at the time, who's now my wife, was pregnant with my youngest daughter. And I just saw the future of, if I continue on this path, I know exactly where this road that I am on is going. And I said, it's more painful for me to stay here and not take the risk than it would be for me to potentially completely fail and crash out. But at least I know I tried. That was kind of my thing. And in my mind, it was like, well, this knucklehead, I grew up with him. We used to get in trouble together. I knew he was a really bright dude. He was always a really bright dude and gifted. But I was like, hey, I'm a pretty bright dude too. I was right there with him. I'm like, if he can do it, I mean, shoot, why not? Let's try it. So that's what really motivated me. My daughter being on the way, the Kirby thing too. I was totally burnt on that. Like I was burnt 4 years before I quit, and I was just drifting, like the book Outwitting the Devil, another one of my favorites. Right, I was drifting through life, and I was in a hypnotic rhythm.
It's Sharon Lecter.
Say what?
Outwilling the what is it?
Outwitting the devil.
Outwitting the
That's
devil.
Napoleon Hill also.
Yeah, but Sharon Lecter rewrote that, and she's going to be in here on the
Oh,
show in
really?
a couple weeks.
Oh, I'll have to check that
Yeah.
out. Yeah, that's a great book.
Yeah.
But I was just in this hypnotic rhythm, and I found Sean Terry online. I went and I was like, okay, who's the main guy? I was like, oh crap, he's in Phoenix. All right, cool. And I just started bugging him on Instagram, and he eventually replied and convinced him to give me a shot, and went all in when I got there, and the rest was history. So yeah,
That wasn't the question though.
what got me to start wholesale, right?
No. What got you to leave Sean Terry and start your
Oh.
own business?
Oh, I thought you said, how did I get into real estate?
That's good.
Oh,
though.
that one's easy.
That's
I got
a
fired.
predisposition story. I like
Yeah,
that.
I got fired. So it was really easy for me to decide to leave. I was told to leave.
Yeah.
So yeah, me and him, we had a disagreement on a hire, someone I wanted to bring on that he didn't want to bring on. We were kind of butting heads, and I brought up a hire that he had that didn't work out, kind of threw it in his face in a way that's not becoming of an employee to their boss, and told him, I'm not, if he doesn't trust me, I don't know if I want to continue working here. I need a little time to think about it, and he gave me a very little time to think about it and kicked me out, and rightfully so, though. I get his position. As a business owner, you can't have someone that's not on board. It's just,
Right.
even if they can perform,
Well, here's
not
here's
conducive.
an interesting thing. Luke, Matt, everybody in this building. This is a volunteer basis. I don't you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I can't command them to work. You know what I mean?
For
they
sure.
choose it, and and it's part of that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you choose it every single day where you want to go. If you have that internal flame that's I could probably do this myself. I'm just learning for a
sure.
little bit. I've got a big engine. You can feel like there's owners of companies that are either going to elevate that talent within their organization, or they're going to say, no, I'm going to look for somebody that's just going to,
Like a robot.
like it's an assembly line
Yeah, yeah.
worker. You know what I mean?
For sure.
They're going to do the job. They're going to do it the way that I want it. They're not going to rock the boat. I don't have to put a bunch of attention to them. It's them. But you have a hard charging, big battery, big engine,
Oh, yeah.
personality, and killer at skills level like that's tough to manage. That's tough. That's tough to keep around.
ask my
That-
wife, man. I'm a handful, bro.
bet.
I'm high octane. I'm go. Yeah, no, I totally get it.
Right?
I totally get it. Yeah, it's, there's got to be an alignment, on
Totally.
that
Yep.
end. So
Well, there's also a part where it's do they work for you or with you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so some people that don't want to be in the business, they want to be out of the business. You're essentially working for them. You're not working with them. They're not in it every single day.
Right.
And so sometimes when you have, strong, you have a lot of potential, and there's nobody there to tell you what to do, you're going to come up with stuff that you're going to do yourself that they might not like.
yeah,
And then that's when you headbutt. And let me know if you guys if this relates to any of you guys in the chat. If you guys are going through this now, or if you feel like that now, let us know, because I feel like every entrepreneur, every business owner has that kind of moment where you're butting heads with somebody that's supposed to be your boss, and you're like, I don't know if you are my boss, actually. You know what I mean?
right.
I don't know. Anyway, that's been my experience. It's not your experience, but let me ask you this, Luke.
Yeah.
Switching it up because we have another question. If I were to say the three letters DOM, do you know what that stands for?
Not a clue.
And it's not Dom from Fast and Furious. Okay.
Family.
All right. DOM for you, Luke.
Yeah.
Days on market.
There you go.
Days on market. DOM. Days on market. How important is this, Rich?
It's very important
Why?
because we don't have that many days to be on market.
Right.
Time is
Our
limited.
days are
Beautiful.
numbered.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Just-
So eloquently spoken.
no, I mean, why is days on market important in this market? And how has days on market changed over the last couple of years?
I mean, it varies a whole bunch from market to market. There's still places where things are moving incredibly fast, and there's stuff that have, 100 plus days on market as the average. But you just have to be aware of it, and you have to factor it in on your offer, right? So if a house very similar to yours sold for $100,000, but it was 200 days on market, you got to understand your exit price probably isn't $100,000. You need to be below that.
Right.
It helps gauge the demand and the demand in that market, and you just have to see, like, if the other ones are taking a long time to sell, you need to price in a discount, because that's really the only two things you have to affect how quick something sells is improving it, like putting work into it and making it nicer, or lowering the price.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's much easier to factor that in the beginning and get it lower, because, I don't know. Like, I see this with my new guys sometimes. Their idea is always, well, let's put money into it and make it better, and then now the deal works and it's profitable. But it's like, whoa. I'm not Bob the Builder over here. Like, we're looking to sell paper, not improve houses. It's not that it's a bad model, just like the same thing with the rentals. Lots of people got, rentals could be a great model. It's just not one that I like. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And the other way is so profitable and so much cleaner and less moving parts. I'm always just trying to get them down on the price rather than using the improvements as kind of like a crutch to make the deal work, because it's very risky and it's expensive.
Yeah, and listen, the best properties sell fast, okay? But they have to be priced right. And if how important is it to get an offer for these deals within the first 30 days?
Oh, it's everything.
First 2 weeks?
Yeah, like 2 weeks is really, after 2 weeks, your clock's ticking.
Right.
Like you're in the danger zone.
So and by the way, pull up, Luke, average days on market for properties in 2022 versus 2025. Okay? Because the longer a property sits on the market, the more other properties come onto the market. Now the buyers have options.
Yeah.
And if there is options, prices go down. That's it. That's supply and demand. I mean, that's basic economics 101 right there. In 2002, look at this. 2002, the average days on market in Phoenix was 36 days. 2025, it's 51 days. So that's increased 2 weeks, and this is way behind. This is so behind. This is probably closer to 60 to 65 days, which is, essentially double what it used to be. So when properties sit longer in the market, more properties hit the market, more inventory, more options, higher supply, and the demand, even if it's strong, even if it's increasing, if it's not increasing at the same amount as the supply, prices are going to go down.
We got a question.
Yeah.
On Instagram here.
Yeah.
Aaron Works Out asks, what's the most challenging thing to overcome doing a novation?
Most challenging thing to overcome in a novation.
There's a lot of challenges, but one thing is when things go wrong that are out of your control, and you just have pressure from all sides, and you've got to figure out, okay, what moves do I have left on this chessboard? Like, what can I actually do besides just calm everyone down? And sometimes calming everyone down is your only move. You know what I mean? But having things go wrong and being resourceful and finding creative solutions, and then also doing it all and making it look easy and keeping the seller happy. Keeping the seller happy can be a real challenge, and it really is the cornerstone of the deal going through, and really, like, you know what I mean, of a mission accomplished. Like, everyone I do business with, I want them to leave happy.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I can't just get the deal done and they're like, oh man, that sucked, but okay, hey, well, I got paid. You know what I mean? It's like doing it and then doing it while preserving everyone's feelings and having them feel good about it. that can be tricky because there's things that happen that is just like how did it, you know what I mean? It's just out of left field, and you just got to just kind of laugh it off.
Well, that's
and
every
just figure
deal.
it out. Yeah,
I would say the toughest part is the pitch.
you think so?
Yeah, I think the toughest part is the way that you position it, and really show the benefits of doing a novation and what that looks like. You know what I mean? I think if you were to look at all the people that you coach and teach,
Yeah.
and where you put the biggest emphasis on when it comes to your course or with the support or whatever else, I don't know. Is it the pitch, or is it, oh, crap, I got this deal and now it's all over the place?
You know what's funny? Like, to me, the pitch is the easiest part, but it's the
This sales
easiest
guy.
because
Look at this guy.
Kirby
He's
guy.
just natural. He's just natural.
You know what it is?
You know what it is with him? It's his tone. It's his
Yeah.
tone of what he could sell. It's his
Yeah.
tone. Everybody, like, you hear this guy, you're going to be best friends.
Best buds.
You're going to instantly be best friends with someone. When
It's
you
true,
when
though.
you hear your tone, and this is really critical for people who are talking about how can you do the pitch over the phone? Can you show us what that looks like? He could show you he could give you the exact words transcribed word for word, and he'll still beat you like a drum because his tone is silky smooth.
Do you think
and
that's,
it's
like, from the
comfortable, and it's
reps?
inviting, and it's loving, and it's kindness, and it's all wrapped up in professionalism and how can I serve you, right?
Yeah.
You know what? I've heard some really good salesmen. The guy that I worked for at Kirby, Don, the guy that owned the office I worked at, he was a very powerful public speaker and motivator and sales trainer. And I picked up a lot from him. He knew, and he didn't speak publicly to anybody other than Kirby people in the office, but he just knew how to just cut right and make you feel it. You felt him. And he genuinely helped improve my life. Like, the things he taught me made a huge difference on helping me grow up and see business in a different way, and responsibility and discipline and all these things. And he pointed me to all these books that helped change my life and all that. I like admired that so much. And I was like, man, how can I see the impact he's made? What can I learn from him? My dad was always a salesman, and part of it is a natural thing, but it's also something that I've really consciously tried to develop because it had such an impact on me. No one had ever gotten through to me like that before. You know what I mean? Now, he caught me at the right time. I was desperate. I had no money, and he was the person for me to learn from. But I realized how powerful that was because I've never really seen that happen like that.
Yeah.
So I try to use it as much as I can because, you know what I mean? If you could really get someone to understand where you're coming from, there's a real power to that.
You know, Mike Mahoney, my buddy Mike Mahoney down the hall.
Yeah.
His grandpa was the CEO of Kirby, Norm Mahoney,
Oh,
and
yeah,
and Mike's dad was the vice president. And he always says about Kirby, recruit them in masses, put them in classes, and kick them out on their asses. That was the motto. That was the motto. That's the world that
Mike should
you
get that
grew up
tatted.
in. I mean,
Yeah.
that's sink or swim.
Yeah, but the pitch itself, it's hard to figure out because the things that you think will work don't work consistently when you try them. But the way that we do it, for the people that are going to say yes, it's the perfect setup. It's not the pitch that's going to convert anybody. It's the pitch that the right people that can benefit from this, it plays into everything that they want and need.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Awesome. We got some questions here. Devin's been very patient. Thank you, Devin. How would you go about swinging a deal on a listed $2.8 million property?
That's tough. That's a tough one. You're probably not going to be able to novate it unless they're
It's
in
already
need
listed.
of something. Yeah. I mean, you're going to have to get them to
What about
agree
wholesale? Where would you be?
to wholesale. I mean, unless you've got connections and you can see that it's, underpriced or mismanaged, but listed stuff, I pretty much just don't even touch it with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah.
And FSBO's even really too. I mean, they're
This is what I would do, Devin. I would find a buyer that is really familiar with luxury properties. And I would, depending on where you live, this could be in Southern California and it could be a mobile home.
Yeah.
Who knows, right? But I assume that it's a luxury home. and I would go and talk to the luxury home buyers and say, hey, listen, for this listing, what would you buy it for? And then I would go in and try to negotiate there. I would already have a buyer in my pocket that's ready to go, because the last thing you want to do is lock up a deal like that. They're going to require 1% earnest money. 1% earnest money is $28,000, Devin. Okay? So even if you negotiate it down to $2 million or $1.8 million, which is probably, when I read it before, it was like 2.8, I'd probably be at 1.4. 1.5, 1.7 to make that make sense. Because if it's sitting on the market at 2.8, it's overpriced. Nobody wants it. If it's sitting on 2.8 and it needs a lot of work, they gotta get realistic, or they gotta put the money into that property. But I wouldn't cut your teeth at 2.8. You gotta have a significant down payment. You're dealing with really, really experienced, and I don't want to say timid. I want to say almost like they have their guard up. They're almost the agents on these deals.
Oh, yeah,
Luxury
very sophisticated.
agents are gonna be real tentative. That's the word, tentative, to give you respect until you earn it, is been my experience, which is weird because they're just humans. You know what I mean? They sell luxury houses, great, but come on.
Yeah.
We can make so much more doing what we do. So much more. It's bananas. It's bananas. I haven't been saying that enough. I think it's died out in the last couple of years. It's bananas. I'm going to bring it back. So, Devin, listed 2.8. I wouldn't mess with it. If you're going to, offer 50%. Can't lose there. Are you guys looking for guys on your team right now? We call you close is asking.
I actually am. Yeah, if you
Ooh.
DM me the word team on Instagram, it'll give you instructions on how to apply.
Matt, we need to get those sound effects.
And
You know what I mean? That'd be cool if it was like
empty buttons right here.
Yeah, empty buttons sitting next to Luke. He's ready for the sound effects, the applause, some silly sounds, something good. It'll be good. It won't be too crazy. It won't be like a 90s.
Like a morning show where you got a little triangle you ring.
That's right.
Little bell.
That's right. Dimitri Van Camp in the house. I love it. The new model is closing all deals and listing it. Yeah, that's true. Once you get to the point where you can just close and list it, it solves a lot of the issues that you have. You just have to get really great deals, and you take risk. You take risk because 30 days can change everything. 30 days of ownership can change. 30 days in a market like this market can change everything. So you want to make sure that you're getting really, really, really great deals. I have a lady right now talking about the attorney that has an attorney effect. How can I calm her down? I have a lady right now bitching about the attorney in fact. How can I calm her down on a novation?
So the only thing.
What does that mean? What is an attorney in fact?
So attorney in fact is what a lot of people use to sign listing docs for the seller on the seller's behalf, where you can hire an agent for the property and sign on behalf of the seller. Now, some people's attorney in fact also says that they can sign the buyer's offer. And you can get away with that quite a bit, but I would not recommend that because lenders don't like to see people not on the title on that, and it can cause red flags. I don't know. Like, I guess it would depend on what your attorney in fact says, but people think of power of attorney and attorney in fact. A lot of people have that association of like the person that pulls the plug, like when you're on your deathbed, basically.
Yep.
So it's kind of scary. It sounds like you might be trying to like steal their house. So the way we explain the attorney in fact is, hey, since we're not the owners of the property, you are. This piece of paper just gives us the authority, or if we want to get a licensed agent involved to help us with any marketing or to be our boots on the ground with anything in here, we would be able to, pick and choose them and sign them on board. And I just need your autograph down there. We keep it super simple.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But you can always have the seller sign the listing agreement too if they don't want to sign the attorney in fact. So they can sign the listing agreement directly as well.
That's what I would do if they're having a problem with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, but a lot of times it's a symptom of something else too, though. If they're tripping about that, it's something. It could be something deeper, that there's some other distrust or red flag that they think they saw, and it's just kind of manifesting in this attorney in fact part. But they also might have some scary attorney in fact. You know what I mean? Mine's pretty basic.
So I got to ask the fashion advice now.
Oh, here we
Okay.
go.
Oh gosh.
Lock
Yeah.
in, chat.
Okay.
So
Lock in.
I don't know if wearing these Jordans with jeans,
Oh, here we go.
if you wear them with the tongue out or the tongue in.
I would be a tongue-in guy, but I'm also like, millennial. I don't know what the kids are doing.
Yeah, guys, let me know. Which,
I don't know.
Can I
Zoom
put my
in
2
on that,
cents?
Matt.
Can I put my 2 cents
There
in
we
here?
go. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, if you have the tongue out, it looks janky as hell.
Okay, so
Yeah.
tongue in.
Yeah, I would do tongue,
Tongue in with these beautiful Pinot Noir colored Jordans.
Those are nice.
Yeah, thank you. Boom. I just want to show off my Jordans every
I
time.
know what you're doing.
I'll bring more to you.
Flexing on
I've only got a few pairs.
Oh yeah.
Might need to get more
Oh,
if the audience wants it.
donate.
You know. So tongue. I thought so. Like the tongue out looks.
Yeah,
crazy.
I mean,
But I see people wearing a tongue out. I'm like, they look so cool. But on
Oh,
me,
you think
it
they look
looks
cool?
terrible. Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
I've
some
seen some
people
people
have the
look cool.
tapered pants at the bottom
Right.
too, or like the Japanese pants that are popular now. Then the tongue's kind of automatically out. But I think with that cut of
Boot
jean,
cut.
if
Yeah.
you tuck it in, it might be a little
the
weird.
bootcut jeans.
All right, we got in. All right. You call you close. We call you close is there. There you go. I know time frame is individual seller based, but on average of close date of these, do you guys put 60 days for close of escrow on the agreement?
Yeah, we do. On or before 60 days. And we do have to do a fair amount of extensions. When I say fair amount, like it's not irregular. Maybe like 1 out of 3 will need an extension, something like that. We'll sign them, but I try not to just do it. If you do it for 90 or 120 days right off the rip, 1, you're going to have some people that are going to trip out about that. And 2, I like to set the example with my guys that if you don't think you can get this done in 60 days, don't sign it. Get it lower.
Yeah.
Because you're using time as a crutch to make up for a lack of negotiation in price. So it's like if you can't do it quick, then you're not there. It's probably not one worth doing, and time's probably not going to fix your problem.
Yeah.
The only exception would be if they have something going on. Like sometimes we'll have someone that like has a job change that's down the line, or like a surgery or something like that. But yeah, you want to move them 60 days.
Yeah, if it can't move, it's like everything. Time kills all deals. If you're screwing around, I don't care if if you're listing a flip, I don't care if you're doing a novation, I don't care if you're doing an assignment. If people aren't chomping at the bit to buy your deal in this market, you got to reduce fast. You
Yeah.
got to backpedal fast. You got to adjust the price fast. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
If you don't, you're going to get swallowed up, and it's going to be a nightmare for you, for sure.
Yeah, if you don't have multiple buyers too, you have no leverage, and especially, you know what I mean. They can beat you up in inspection, and now you're really desperate because you waited a long time to get the buyer. You have no backup buyers, and now this buyer, if they decide they want to rake you over the coals, you got no recourse. It's either start over, and now you're even worse off. You know what I mean, or just like, take what you can get and dip out.
Yeah. Rich is my favorite person in wholesale.
Oh,
That's what Abdul Bassett said.
Shout out Abdul.
I thought that might have been my mom on there.
Thanks
I
a
was like,
lot, Abdul.
Yeah, Abdul. I know Abdul. He's a Rainmaker OG, man. He's been killing it. I believe he's in Pennsylvania.
You're his favorite person.
Oh, my
Thanks a
God.
lot,
You know
Rich.
that zip code you had me
Jeez.
look up, Brent?
Huh?
You know that zip code you had me look up?
Yeah.
It's either Virginia or Indonesia. So
What is
Nice.
it?
the zip code.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
On the
Yeah.
guy's username.
I would assume it's Virginia.
Wu Tang, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Awesome. Terry says, Brent, if you think they look cute with the tongue out, so that's how you should wear them. I don't. I think they look goofy on me with the tongue out. I just didn't know,
No, yeah.
you know.
I get you. You're
I
just
don't
trying to get
know.
you're trying to get some fashion advice.
I don't. I'm like a jock, you know. Like I go home, I put on, soft terry cloth shorts and a tank top.
With some
You know what I
smooth
mean?
jazz in the background.
I got caught in the TikTok algorithm to buy those super
Oh.
comfy Croc slip-ons.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
They're phenomenal.
Ads for days.
Oh my gosh, that's where I'm living. Closed today on a nice Dimitri. Closed today on a nice vacant lot for $5,000 and sold already to the neighbor for $44,000. Had an old mortgage, but got insurance underwriter to insure over the old subprime mortgage.
Oh my
Wow.
god.
I mean, that is
He's killing it.
a master class.
That's awesome.
I love both these guys. They're life changers. John Johnson. You know John
Awesome.
Johnson?
Yeah, I do know John. What's up, John?
That's awesome. I missed one here. What market should I go after, or what are critical factors I should keep in mind for choosing a market?
I mean, it depends. If you're wholesaling, I mean, not a bad place to start is look where the hedge funds are buying and go to some cities outside of there. You know, I mean, for a lot, I mean,
Are hedge
depending.
funds buying?
I don't know. I don't know if they are now. I know they were a while ago. I wasn't really messing with them a whole lot. My dispo guy had some ones that he was talking to. But, I mean, I target for motivation. I don't target for location.
Right.
That's me personally. But you got to pick your poison. Like, the leads that the people that are easy to get signed, they're going to be harder to sell. And the ones in the good markets where it's really easy to sell, it's going to be harder to acquire deals. So, just
Yeah, but in novations, isn't it better to go further out of major cities? Or
Well,
it doesn't matter?
the good thing is you have the efficiency where no one else wants those leads, so
Right.
they're a lot cheaper. And they also, there's no really competition, so you can negotiate them lower.
Right.
So, yeah, absolutely. Like, if you're going an all Novation strategy, that's a good sweet spot in the market. And that's what we've been doing with you guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We've been getting some good results.
With the
But-
pay-per-click.
With the PPC
pay-per-click,
campaigns, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. Are you doing most of the deals in town versus, like, what's the mix between in a major metropolitan area versus out in rural?
Ooh, more than half of our deals are in places of like less than 30,000 people.
30,000, like tiny towns.
A big chunk, yeah, a big chunk of them are. And we have some that are in major places. Like I've got one, I've got one in Phoenix right now, and Coral something. We do because we get the JV leads, so they'll sometimes send leads in major cities. But with the novations, the motivation is the most important thing.
You were here for the Rhino tribe, and you were speaking to everybody, and you were breaking down some deals, and some of the best deals are vacant land deals.
Oh yeah,
You did that vacant land deal that was smoking. You
Yeah,
made
it was like
I don't know,
nine-
60K or
yeah.
something. John Johnson just got one for 15Ks, closing next week. Took him 8 months to close.
dang.
Oh dang.
Yeah, we've got a couple like that have been hanging around. For
Land
sure.
or just
Dude, so we have this farmland one in Nebraska that's going to be like a 600K plus.
Dang.
But it's got a whole nightmare.
what do you mean 600K plus? To you?
600K plus profit.
To you.
Between me and my closer, yeah.
I mean your company. You
Our
know what I mean?
company,
Like,
yeah. 600K plus, but it's a nightmare scenario with
Luke
a
likes
Jerry
that one.
Springer
Cheers.
family situation. And
What's the situation?
it was inherited from this guy's dad 10 years ago. The mom and the dad got divorced when they were little kids, and the guy's sister went and lived with his mom, and he lived with his dad, and they all hate each other. The mom's dead now, the dad's dead now, and the sister has the only copy of the will, but she won't give it up. So now there's no will. She doesn't want to talk to anybody. So we're trying to figure out, and he's been paying taxes on it, but it's still in his dad's name. So it's a whole probate family feud situation. We're probably about 7-8 months into this too.
Does he know in the will who it goes to?
Well, in the will, it goes all to him. but the sister has the will, and
So just do a quiet title, or do it to go through probate.
that's what we're working on now. Yeah. But it's been an issue because we were trying to avoid doing that, and it seemed like she was going to play ball for a while. But yeah,
Have you talked to her, or anybody on your team talked to her?
No. But she ran into the sellers, her brother and his uncle at Walmart when he was cashing the check for the first house we sold for him. He had some crappy house in Virginia that we sold.
Wait. He was cashing a check for a house sale at Walmart?
At Walmart because he didn't have a bank account. Crazy.
How does that work? Walmart just cashes
They
checks?
cash checks there. Yeah, you can go there and cash
No.
a check.
Yeah, Matt's saying yeah too.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know about the Walmart.
Walmart house.
Walmart's
Yeah.
got all sorts of businesses.
You can go there and
Holy
You can do
figure
your
it
tax
out.
refund check there. You can send a Western Union, yeah, the whole nine. But
Holy
yeah, he had a bad house that came in as a PPC, came in another way. We found out he had the farmland, and we went and called an auctioneer, and like my closer used to live in Nebraska, so he knew Nebraska, and we went and called and found out what it was worth. And we're like, dude, this is an insane deal.
Can we make a deal right now, us and our incredible audience? When you close that deal,
Yeah.
we need to have a special party episode.
A celebration.
Right?
100%.
I
I'm
mean,
down, dude.
Closing a 600K deal.
I don't think it's unreasonable if Rich comes in,
Yeah.
maybe spends 50, 100K,
Oh.
and
throw
we just
a little
throw
party
a
to
party.
celebrate. Yeah, I was gonna say, I bet I'm buying the drinks and the food for that party.
I'll tell you what, we can invite all the live people on right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
can come in, pay for them, first class, of course,
Let's do it.
on Rich, and have a great party. Do you guys agree with this? Is this a good idea?
Yeah.
Would you guys come if we threw a big party for Rich's
Dude, let's do a rager.
From Belgium,
$600,000?
Dimitri.
Let's do it. Can we celebrate?
Oh,
it
I'm
once
down,
it
bro.
happens?
For sure.
That's awesome. That is absolutely awesome. I think he needs his own bell, is what John Johnson says. Yeah, we'll get him a bell
A
when he
golden.
closes that one. Listen to this. Ralph, who is here for the Rhino Tribe event that happens here. By the way, guys, if you're interested in joining the Rhino Tribe and really understanding how to build a long-lasting, profitable, predictable business in real estate, go to wholesalinginc.com. Check that out. If you're interested in getting the absolute best Novation training possible, go to
NovationKing.com.
novationking.com.
Yep.
Novationking.com. Definitely check that out. But look at Ralph here. Doing my first Novation. Rich Wonder was dropping some fire at the May workshop. Gave me what I needed.
Nice.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's give it up.
Let's go,
Let's
Ralph.
give it up.
Yep.
I love it. That's awesome. First class from Brussels to Phoenix for Dimitri Van Camp. You got to bring him in. He's the best.
Do it.
That's done. That's probably nothing. It's probably like a couple $100,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like what-
Allegiant
what-
goes there, right?
Well, yeah, Allegiant, yeah. Spirit Airlines, or Ryan Airlines.
Ryan.
I took Ryan Airlines from Rome to Barcelona for my honeymoon.
Yeah.
I swear to God,
Yeah.
there was animals on this flight. There was a boa constrictor around a gal's neck. There was like chickens and coop and like little It was
Oh.
crazy.
Oh, this is the best.
The gal that was working the counter was the meanest person I have ever experienced. Right? And I'm all hopped up. I've just got married. I'm like having a
you're
great
vibing.
time,
Yeah.
just glowing. And this woman
Killed you.
we showed up 4 hours early.
Oh, wow.
4 hours early for our flight. We barely got on. She sent us to the back twice.
What?
Twice. Because we were American. Yeah. Like, what am I going to do? Who am I going to complain to?
The
It
boa
was
constrictor.
Do not take Ryanair. Let me know, Dimitri, if you've ever flown a Ryanair. I'm sure that you've flown. I think it's a Irish
Yeah,
airline.
I've had a couple friends do Ryanair before.
It
yeah.
was wild.
Yeah.
I feel like they didn't have a smoking ban. There were like
Oh, no.
people
It's-
blazing up, throwing some lung darts down. They were having a great time. Look at that. Dimitri, right there. Ryanair is the worst. No one takes that. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Jiu-Jitsu says if I close a 600K deal, I won't say a word, but there will be signs like name brand cereal, Frosted Flakes, no more sugar flakes.
Ooh.
Modest flashing. Nice.
crazy.
You'd be surprised. You close a 600K deal, Jiu-Jitsu, and your brain will be broken forever. I'll tell you that. I will tell you that. You'll be like out. You're going to see money in a different light. That's why I encourage everybody, get a massive deal. Get a 50K plus deal, and it'll reset your financial thermostat from 0 to 12. You can look it up. 0 to 12. Will you look it up? Actually, look it up. 0 to 12. Just look up when is the financial thermostat developed, and I believe it's 0 to 12. We'll see what comes up in Google. But from the time you're 0 to, how do people talk about money? How did people? How did you experience money? What is it? We can't afford it. Everybody's fighting over things. People getting mad about weird things. Weird, oh, you're using all of the toilet paper for cleaning up something as opposed to whatever. Just weird little problems. Yeah, early childhood experiences. Observing and experiencing how money was handled in the household, including discussions and finance. Parental attitudes and behaviors. The comments, attitudes, and behaviors parents exhibit around money significantly impact a child's financial thermostat. Messages internalized about money, hearing phrases like money doesn't grow on trees, rich people are greedy, can program limiting beliefs about wealth that last into adulthood.
Yeah.
Boom. Yeah. From what I've seen, it's 0 to 12. But it's important. Yeah. Even a 100K deal will do it. Yeah, 100%, Dimitri. 100K deals? You see that thing hit the account? You're like, oof, that's nice.
Oh yeah, I mean, dude, even when I had my first deal, like the 30-something K, and only a part of that was mine, but you start realizing like what you thought was a lot of money, like the world doesn't even notice it. Like all these houses are closing, all these deals are coming, and it's just like, why? What
Did
was
you have
I
one that
thinking?
like really hit you? Was it the first one? Is that the one that really?
There's been many breakthroughs where, the first one was a big one because then I knew I could do it. Like seeing my friend do it, I knew it could be done, and then me doing it, and we were talking Deal Machine. It was a driving for dollars deal that was in between the lead that Sean gave me, and I used Deal Machine to skip trace it, and we sent them a postcard. So that broke it, and then getting the big.
What'd you make on it?
You said what?
What'd you make on it?
I want to say it was like 40 or 45 or something like that altogether, and my cut was like 10% of it. So I got $4,000, but I needed that $4,000 bad. It was when I first started. Like that's what paid my bills and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's been a lot of times of just crossing different thresholds. Of like I remember when I had 50K. That was a big deal to me because like my whole time in Kirby, I think I might have gotten up to maybe like 20, 25K at some point, but then I had to buy machines and, I had money coming in and out, but it was coming in and out. You know what I mean? I wasn't stacking it, and then hitting six figures was a big deal. Like all kind of the milestones, but it's weird too. Cause like when I first had 50K, I was like, dang, like I really felt secure, but it's just like kind of, I don't know, in a way, like the more money you get, in a way you kind of do feel more poor in a way too. I don't know, you feel less secure in a way too, or you realize like you're not as safe as you thought you would be when you got there, you know what I mean? You realize it's still kind of fickle, and especially if you have big stuff coming in and out. But yeah, there's been a lot of times where I look at that where like how hard I would work like at my old job and like what I would get for it, where it's just you really have to leverage bigger things because you can work very hard and not get results if you're not in the right thing that you can leverage.
Yep. Well, you're talking Kirby vacuum versus real estate?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I worked like a dog. I worked honestly way harder then. but I
Well,
solve more difficult
it's the
problems
same way I
now.
felt being a realtor versus being a wholesaler and building a wholesale business. The same exact way. I mean, you could make a good living as a realtor, but when the market crashes and it's 2010 and 2011 and 2012, I remember, and so Seamus, my oldest, was born November 2011. 6 months, him and me and his mom broke up 6 months later. Okay? So he's 6 months old. She goes off on a bender. She disappears for 12 months. I've got Seamus, 6 months old. I owe on a judgment $700,000. I have a 450 credit score, right? Like bad. Yeah. I have this beat up old Lexus. It was basically the Camry body, but it was a tan colored Lexus that my dad gave me, and I have to drop him off at this daycare, right? Because I got to go show houses to these knuckleheads that want to buy a $70,000, $80,000 house in worst parts of Phoenix, investors, and I make nothing on it and whatever else, but it was something. And I would drop him off, and he kept getting these ear infections. It kept getting these ear infections. Kept getting these ear infections. So I'd have to like scramble around and find my mom or my sister or somebody to watch him, or I'd have to like pull something out and see if a buddy could do a showing and all this other, like finagle it all. And then I remember it's like a year later. He's like 18 months old. I had just met Aaron. I was sitting around, and I just discovered wholesaling, and it was really great. And all of a sudden, I closed this deal for $42,000.
Wow!
And I was like, I was shaking.
Yeah.
Like it was like emotional. It was like
yeah.
really, really, really emotional, because it was like I can now put him in a better place. Like daycare is expensive.
Yeah.
It is really expensive, and it wasn't like a bad place. It was just like close and convenient, and it was still expensive. And I was like, there was other places I wanted to go, but it was too expensive. And then I could finally put him in there. And then I was like, am I going to ever do this again? Can I truly change my life after this $42,000 deal? And boy, and I was like freaking out. And Aaron, my girlfriend at the time, now obviously wife, was like, you're fine. Just relax. Just do it again. And I was like, okay. And I took a deep breath and I did it.
Kept
You
on
know what I
doing
mean?
it.
So it's crazy. It's crazy. It was a crazy experience. My family members still go crazy if I buy a Red Bull at a gas station. They ask when I finally look for a job, Dimitri says.
That's interesting.
Isn't that funny? That's crazy. Stryker loves us. Stryker Show absolutely loves us. He thinks that this is all bullshit.
Bullshit.
Yes. So I feel like that's a strong sheet. If I'm going to be a bull, if I'm going to be a sheet, I want to be a strong sheet.
Yeah, strong.
You
like
know
bull.
what I mean?
Strong.
That
like
would be
bull.
cool. That would be cool. So, guys, we went for almost 2 hours.
Dang.
Yeah, this is almost 2 hours.
Yeah,
that
was
flew
great.
by. That absolutely flew by.
It flew.
Thank you guys for jumping in here on a Thursday, on a random
Yeah.
Thursday. This is absolutely incredible. We're going to be doing more of these on Thursdays. I'm going to try to come Monday, Wholesale Hotline, Wednesday, the show that we do at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and then this one at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, or when the times shift, it'll be 5. But yeah, thank you for participating. Any questions that you guys have, any comments that you have on improving the show, or what you'd like to see more of, or who do you'd like on the show, I'd love to go to work for you guys and see if we can get really incredible people
Put it in the comments.
over here and pouring into the audience,
No,
pouring into
definitely.
the crowd here. So
It's gonna be
love you
fun.
guys. This is awesome. Bring it in. 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 Yeah, bring it in. We'll say goodbye to him here. This is one of the best lives I've seen. Thank you. Hey, Brent, thank you for all that you do for the people of the industry. Can I ask a question before you bail? Go ahead, Derek. Throw it in there. Brent, this is awesome. Awesome. Matt is running all of this stuff, so that's awesome. Not only is Matt running this, Rich, we found out that a rat came into our office at some
no.
point. We have traps everywhere, and started eating his giant cords that control everything. So all of this studio and everything, some mischievous, hungry little rat.
Ratatouille.
Apparently they love wiring. I don't know why. Yeah. We want the Brent Daniels life documentary. Yeah.
The
Someday maybe.
docu-series.
I don't see Derek's question, but maybe you can ask it on the next show next week. But that's it, guys. Guys, give it up for Rich Wonders.
Let's go,
Definitely check
Rich.
him out. Your Instagram is
Novation King.
Novation King.
Yep.
The best Instagram profile in real estate, in my opinion.
There you go.
Really good.
There you
I love
go.
it. I mean, you're showing everything. I mean, you're on there. That's your main form of communication.
Yeah, I mean, my whole business has been.
Yep.
My team comes from Instagram. My deals come from Instagram.
Yep. And guys, basic formula to create my offer value for a 5-unit apartment building that would be considered commercial. Yeah, I mean, you have to see what the income is on it. You know, how much does that pull in? That's what's going to determine the value of that property. So you have to see what it's currently bringing in, what the potential is to bring it in, and are some of them empty? Are they not really getting any income from the property? And what is the max that it could be? And you could talk to a commercial broker about it, and they can give you some great advice. Yep.
Cool.
Awesome. That makes the wires. Oh, they make the wires with soy. It attracts rats. Yeah, I guess so, Ralph. I don't know. Is it soy? Is that what the wires are made out of?
I
Is he
don't
just
know.
being silly?
I think he's being silly.
I mean, I feel like you can make soy into anything. You know what I mean? It's a
Yeah.
really versatile plant. Anyway, love you guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.